Today on Florida Sportsman Best Boat. For those who want the ultimate in shallow water stealth and accessibility, we'll be taking a look at the OldTown Predator XL Minn, a kayak with an overall length of 13 feet 2 inches and a beam of 3 feet. Standout features on the OldTown Predator XL Minn. An electric motor can greatly increase your range when fishing on a kayak, with paddling often becoming exhausting during long excursions. A stern rudder makes maneuvering your kayak much easier, crucial when fighting large fish and cruising in tight channels. A comfortable seat with multiple positions allows the kayak operator to work the rudder pedals, paddle, and fish all day with ease. If you desire the ultimate in refinement for the family with no lack of offshore fishing features, we'll be looking at the Edgewater 262cc, a center console with an overall length of 26 feet 5 inches, a beam of 9 feet 3 inches, and max horsepower rating of 500. Standout features on the Edgewater 262cc. Bow seating that is engineered to accommodate multiple people in comfort and be used as tackle and gear storage is ideal for the angler and their family. Easy console access provides a wide, clear passageway into the head and makes stowing extra gear effortless. A helm station with a rocket launcher, sink, cutting board, and cooler makes prepping lunch or bait simple. For those who enjoy blue water fishing and cruising with the family in luxury, we'll be taking a look at the Belzona 325, a center console with an overall length of 32 feet 6 inches, a beam of 10 feet 8 inches, and max horsepower rating of 700. Standout features on the Belzona 325. A bow lounge provides a place for everyone on board to gather and relax while on the water in maximum comfort. In-deck gear storage is a necessity, especially aboard a boat that is perfect for extended trips. Mezzanine seating allows anglers to face aft to better observe trolling baits offshore and provides guests an additional comfortable place to sit. Join our hosts Dave East and Rick Riles as they conduct walkthroughs and review key features, all to help you decide if this is the best boat for you.
Welcome to this episode of Florida Sportsman Best Boat. I'm your host, Dave East, and along with my co-host, Captain Rick Riles, we're going to look at 3 boats, perhaps the most diverse we've ever done in 4 seasons of the show.
We're starting at the beginning of the spectrum, the kayak. So many reasons to love kayaks. OldTown Predator's got a new idea.
I was blown away by the stability of that kayak. I didn't think I'd be able to stand up and flip for bass. I was able to do that.
You sure didn't think you'd have to do it without paddling it, did you? I was thoroughly stoked by how easy that thing was to maneuver, handle, and load.
The addition of that motor opens up a lot more territory to fish.
It does, and there is something magical about the solitude and the quiet of a kayak. But let's talk about the Edgewater, because that was a blue water paddle wagon.
Absolutely, and you can't say Edgewater without talking about their legendary construction. All foam filled, the boat's got a very, very solid ride. There's plenty of center consoles out there in the 26-foot range, but this one, man, it was like riding solid on a rock.
Well, and you can feel it every time she comes off a wave. There's no bam, okay? I mean, she's just solid. How are we gonna describe that 32 Belzona?
Well, simple. It's a center console, cuddy cabin that have been morphed together because you've got the fishability of a center console, but you've got the overnight or even staying all weekend ability of a cuddy cabin. You go down underneath inside that center console and there's real amenities down there. There's air conditioning, there's a television. You could easily take that boat, spend an entire weekend on it, never go to a marina.
I'll tell you what they did. They took a lot of ideas from a lot of different types of boats. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's sport fishing ideas. There's even big commercial boat ideas. There's all kind of ideas in that boat that we don't see every day.
When we come back, hosts Dave East and Rick Riles take a closer look at a kayak made to go long distances in comfort and stealth, the OldTown Predator XL Minn. This segment brought to you by Suzuki Marine, the ultimate 4-stroke outboard. Welcome back to Florida Sportsman Best Boat. Join our hosts Dave East and Rick Riles as they take a closer look at the OldTown Predator XL Minn Kota. Representing the kayak category, the OldTown Predator XL Minn Kota has an overall length of 13 feet 2 inches and a beam of 3 feet. Made for exploring and stealth, she has a dry weight of 92 pounds and a max load of 600 pounds. Now, let's hear more from our hosts, Dave East and Rick Riles.
Now for something a little different you haven't seen before in Best Boat, we're going to look at kayaks. This is the OldTown Angler. This particular model is the Predator XL. And what separates this kayak from most of the other ones out there has a built-in Minn Kota trolling motor right here.
Let me tell you something. You know how us old guys are. It takes us a minute to get used to something new. It didn't take me long, and man, is this a cool weapon.
Well, the paddles are cool, and that's what most people are going to use to propel themselves with a kayak, but I think the main difference with having the Minn Kota trolling motor is distance. It gives us range. This morning, we went way back in the savannas, and I tell you what, if you'd have wanted me to paddle back there and paddle back, I probably would have said no, let's stay closer to the ramp. But the fact that we had the Minn Kota trolling motors, we used them to get us back to where we wanted to fish, and then we could slow down, slower pace, use the paddle, and take your time and pick your way along the shoreline like you normally do.
Okay, you want to talk about maximizing space. Let's walk this thing bow to stern. First off, if you've carried as many kayaks as I have, you'll love that handle. Okay, it does not hurt your hand to carry it. But look how intricate they put those flaps up there to hold the tips of your rod. Because as you're paddling through weeds, you're constantly getting your rod snagged on stuff. Come back a little further, dry storage, okay? Do you realize what these are for?
Well, you had told me earlier, this is for mounting any kind of hard points. In other words, rod holders, depth finders. I mean, I've seen some of the kayaks out there, and they're maxed out. They've got adjustable rod holders, they've got a bottom machine, they have GPS. They have just as many features as you would see on a typical boat.
We got more dry storage right here. And one of my initial prejudices against motorized kayaks was, oh, the motor hangs so low, I won't be able to get it shallow. All you gotta do is grab this handle and pull the motor up out of the way.
Well, when I first sat in, I saw these pedals, and they're adjustable. For someone that's really long or really short or whatever, you can move the pedals and have them fit your feet. But it's just like taxiing an airplane. You have a rudder back here, right? If you push to the right, you go to the right. If you push to the left, you go to the left. And here again, you can adjust them to really fit you so you're comfortable, so your knees aren't all bent or you're too stretched out. But you've got a little rope here on the side. You get in really shallow water like we are now, you can pull and you can flip that rudder up, and now it's out of your way. Or let's say you want to back up into some weeds or into some mangroves or something like that. You can get the rudder out of the way and it's not going to hang up.
And get the whole idea of lugging the battery out of your mind. Not nearly as heavy as you think, and it fits in a bracket right back here and plugs right in. There's nothing to putting the motor or the battery in the kayak at the ramp. It's a whole lot simpler than you think. I'm telling you, it took me a few minutes to get used to it. Once I got used to it, I could crawl down a shoreline like never before by just, like you say, adjusting the rudder and just barely adjusting the speed. Man, there's no way a fish heard me coming.
The 12-volt motor in here, it'll run off a single battery. You don't have to carry two. It's got plenty of thrust to drag this thing around like a rag doll. You've got a little switch down here for forward and reverse, and you can, it's like an infinite control. You can just, like you were saying earlier, just ease down the shoreline. You can back up. It's got a little indicator that tells you when it's time to recharge your battery, tells you when you have a full charge, half charge. They've even put a USB port in here so you can charge your cell phone. Well, the seat too, it's got so many adjustments on it, it's crazy. You can adjust the angle. You can take it all the way out if you want more room to stand up, but then you can adjust these straps too. Earlier, we had it laid back. We let that little rainstorm go through. I could see staying in this boat all day long and being comfortable. Well, everywhere you look, there's something else. You've got built-in cup holders. You have built-in handles here. You've got a place to store your big tackle box back here. They've done such a great job with space. There's really nowhere you look on here that haven't taken and built in some type of feature that's useful. Rod holders back here, like we had said earlier, for the tips up forward. There's a lot of thought went into the design of this. Well, I guess really we've gone through the features of the kayak. We've talked about, with their accessibility and what they can do. I guess the very last thing we have to do is race back to the ramp, because these things are fast and I believe I can outrun you.
Well, A, you can't, and B, you better understand that there's gonna be some red on my back panel because Rubbin's racing.
When we return, hosts Dave East and Rick Riles step aboard a boat engineered specifically for the offshore fishermen and their family, the Edgewater 262cc. This segment brought to you by Oceanic Gear. Wear the gear, catch the fish.
Whether you are offshore trolling or running the flats, Oceanic Gear is setting a new standard in performance fishing apparel. Our clothing has unmatched comfort, all-day sun protection, uncompromising durability, all at a price you can afford. We bring a unique look and feel to the game with vivid, colorful design. Whatever the species, whatever your style, we've got you covered. Oceanic Gear, where the gear catch the fish.
Welcome back to Florida Sportsman Best Boat. Join our hosts Dave East and Rick Riles as they explain the importance of being aware while operating a boat in this week's Best Boat Seminar Series.
When you're on the water, it's very important to be aware of your entire surroundings, 360 degrees around the boat. You know, these nice big screens we have here are great, but if you spend more of your time looking at your GPS and not watching what's in front of the boat, that can be dangerous.
We've both seen the results of what can happen. The problem on the water is when things go bad, they go bad in a big hurry and happen awfully fast. You gotta be aware 360 degrees around you.
It's really simple. If everything is okay outside of the boat, it's going to be okay inside of the boat. So just remember, spend more of your time 360 degrees, keep your head on a swivel, and not so much time concentrating on what's on your dash.
And don't always assume that everybody on your boat knows where they need to be, too. A lot of times kids will find their way up forward where they shouldn't belong. That can be a disaster if you come to a boat wake and the boat starts to pound. There's a whole lot going on. It commands your attention all the time. Inside of the boat, outside of the boat, when you're on the water, be aware all the time.
Now, let's check out the Edgewater 262cc. Representing the 26 to 27 foot class in the center console category, the Edgewater 262cc has an overall length of 26 feet 5 inches, a beam of 9 feet 3 inches, and a max horsepower rating of 500. Engineered for family excursions, she has a draft of 21 inches, a dry weight of 5,000 pounds, and a fuel capacity of 163 gallons. Now, let's hear more from our hosts, Dave East and Rick Riles.
This is the Edgewater 262cc, and when I look at this boat, the only thing I can think of is like a fireworks show. The two most spoken words in any fireworks show is ooh and ah.
And you're right, but that almost applies to this boat. There's so many things about this boat that make you go, ooh, oh, that's nice. You know, Dave, I'm seeing families further and further offshore than ever before. These boats have got to be suited to families. They really did it here. Let's be honest. I mean, these countertops and such, they speak to taking mama and daughters fishing. They really do. But look how much time they spent designing this and how effective it is. 7-foot rod locker right here, lockable. Prep station, you can put all the tackle, or you can put the lunch in here if that's what you're gonna make. Edgewater said this boat really appealed to their dual console customers. I can understand why.
Well, when I see a bow configuration like this, what I see, this has been engineered. This wasn't an afterthought. This wasn't something they added on. This was given a lot of thought when they sat down to design this boat from scratch, and it shows. This is going to be a very comfortable place for the family to sit. You can remove the cushions. You also have a little raised deck if you want to use it for fishing. So this wasn't, like I said earlier, wasn't an afterthought. They thought a lot about this, and they designed it for one specific purpose, and that's comfort.
Comfort for the whole family. You don't just raise those seats, you unlatch them from here. What that does is, when they're closed, they're tight closed. We bounced off some waves today. You never heard any lids slamming up here in the bow. You know what you've never seen? A truly comfortable head and interior console on a 26-foot boat. You want to see one? Open this door right here. Now that is a wide open, comfortable place to go down into if you have to go.
Well, we had talked about the engineering of the bow. This just fits the engineering of the whole boat. When the whole face of the console opens, look how much access you have in and out. Not just for using the head or using the sink or anything. If you want to store stuff down there, trying to go through a little small door, it's tough. When the whole face opens up like this, one, it's going to be safer, especially in rough water, to get in and out of the console. But to have the maximum amount of usage to the console, you have the maximum amount of opening to get into it. All right, look at this Edgewater's top. This isn't something that some guy in an aluminum shop built and sold to Edgewater. This is an engineered design top with extruded metal. It almost gives you the feel of a pilot house, but the function of a center console.
There's no legs down to the deck. It is part of the console, if you will. It's built specifically for this, and it does a fine job.
Well, you've got a nice flat dash. All your electronics will fit there. They went with backup switches, which is good. You know it's positively on or positively off. And even just the little things, you've got 2 footrests down here. One for when you're standing and one for when you're in the seated position. Little things like that make a huge difference when you spend all day out on the water. But this is certainly an all-inclusive design of a helm seat if you've ever seen one.
What didn't they do? Okay, it is a rocket launcher, it is a prep station and tackle drawers, and it is a cooler. What didn't they include in this helm station?
Well, the way that they've cantilevered this out the back, it gives you a lot more room under there for your cooler, and it comes out on a slide.
Long fish boxes here, but long doors for them. You know what that means? You can clean them easily.
Well, you look over here, they've got a side entry door and they've got a transom door. At first you might think that's redundant, but it's really not, because this is an easy way into the water, that's an easy way out of the water. You have a swim ladder, you come right up the ladder, you come right through the transom door, it's an easy way to get out. The best way to get in, when you get your dive gear on, is open the door and just step through.
And oh, by the way, a freshwater shower between the two. That's not bad.
Well, you've got stern seating here that folds out of the way when not in use. And behind it, another family feature, you've got a ski pole. It's just one more thing that Edgewater added to make this boat family friendly.
Round this baby out with a good circulating live well in the transom, Dave, and it's well engineered all the way from bow to all the way to stern. I tell you what, this might be the best boat for getting your family a little further offshore out on the water, getting them involved in blue water fishing.
When we come back, hosts Dave East and Rick Riles check out a boat outfitted with yacht-like amenities and offshore fishing features, the Belzona 325. This segment brought to you by MyFWC. Life jackets save lives.
Boating is a great way to relax, but staying safe means being aware. Don't get distracted. Always pay attention to your surroundings. Be aware of other boaters. Stay focused. Stay alert. The marine environment is constantly changing. Stay safe and be aware.
Welcome back to Florida Sportsman Best Boat. Join our hosts Dave East and Rick Riles as they check out the Belzona 325. Representing the 31 to 53 foot class in the center console category, the Belzona 325 has an overall length of 32 feet 6 inches, a beam of 10 feet 8 inches, and a max horsepower rating of 700. Designed for extended trips and family cruising, she has a draft of 24 inches, dead rise of 22 degrees, a dry weight of 11,300 pounds, and a fuel capacity of 280 gallons. Now, let's hear more from our hosts, Dave East and Rick Riles.
This is the Belzona 325cc. They refer to this boat as a center console, but you know, when you look at the interior of this center console, I have a hard time calling this a hardcore fishing boat because it's very, very luxurious.
This ain't your daddy's center console, I'll tell you that. Luxurious fishing has been the mission of every Belzona boat we've ever been on.
Well, it's got one of their trademark features, having the sliding door in the back, which gives you maximum access in and out of the water. But they've designed their bow a little bit different than what we've seen on other boats. Of course, they've got the console that has the windshield that leans forward. There's a lot of things in this boat that are a little bit different than you see on the masses.
But they haven't stopped tweaking. Comprehensive bow seating is one of the first things that stood out to me about this boat. Let me explain to you what I mean about comprehensive seating. How you like the way that recesses back there to give you room to sit?
Well, the way they designed it, it gives me a really, really big seat cushion and still a lot of room to walk by. So this little indent, it's not just for aesthetics. It moves you further to the outside of the boat. So things like that is where somebody gives a lot of thought before they put something on paper, and it translates into a really good design.
Oh, you mean kind of like the way that you can stick your toes? You've got a toe kick all the way around here. So if you are reaching out to gap a fish or fighting a fish uphill, you're comfortable?
Exactly. Well, too, they've done some other things over here underneath this lounge that I like. You've got 2 levels of storage.
Well, really, you got 3. Here's your drinks. Here's your supplies.
Right.
Under here is your backup supplies for, like you say, a multi-day trip. First thing that stands out to me is what you and I would call a reverse windshield, if you will. It doesn't angle forward. You know why? Water won't stay on it. It drops off instead of rolling down the front of the windshield and obstructing your view.
The interior of this console is something you don't normally see on a hardcore fishing boat. You've got real wood down there, Corian countertops, a built-in sink, absolutely gorgeous.
So look at all the advantages to having the access right here. you're accessing, if you are in bad weather, you're going in out of the weather. It's also easy to open the center console from the helm. Say you got somebody who is not familiar with how to open the door, the man driving the boat's got it all in his hands.
Well, from a manufacturer standpoint, the way they put this boat together, there's no fasteners. You don't see any screws anywhere. All these fiberglass pieces are bonded with methacrylate. I know we've talked about that before, but basically what it does, turns all these individual pieces into one monolithic piece. This is not coming apart.
Here's what it gives you, Dave, a tight ride. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, a tight ride is when you don't pound and you don't hear anything when you come off a wave. Now what that means is no hatches are slamming, nothing's bouncing around. Let me tell you, you spend your life on a boat like I have, rattling drives you crazy. You won't get a bit of it on this boat.
Comfortable helm seating, we've seen this on a lot of boats. Belzona does it too. But as we go to the cockpit, there's another set of seating I think you're going to like as a fisherman.
This came from serious big game sport fishing boats. Mezzanine seating. Now let me tell you what's so important about this. Fishing is made up of 1,000 little bitty things that makes your boat a little bit better. One of the first things is being able to see your fish. Your crew can watch your baits if you're sitting back here. It's one of the advantages that big sport fishing boats have over center consoles. Not anymore. This mezzanine seating is excellent for where your eyes should stay while you're on the water trolling.
Well, if you're going to bring the family back here and entertain, this one drops down and faces forward. Now you've got your group seating back here as well.
And you've certainly got enough room for your group seating. Very nice size cockpit for a boat this size.
Well, you've got two built-in fish boxes back here that are insulated. And for maintaining your boat, you've got a lazarette back there that is so big you can actually get down in there with your toolbox for maintaining your pumps or anything else that you have to do down there.
Across your transom, a live well, a transom door, plenty of open space, excellent layout.
One thing they did keep in the design, it's a Belzona exclusive, is a sliding side door.
That's my fantasy, Dave. I just want to catch one so big we got to bring him through this way.
Well, for water sports or for diving, there's no easier way to get in and out of the water.
Tell you what, luxurious fishing is the mission for this one.
If you want more information about the three boats we just talked about, or any other boats that we've covered this season in Best Boat, go to our website, floridasportsman.com.
Or we'll see you on next week's episode of Florida Sportsman Best Boat.
When filming for Florida Sportsman Best Boat, the cast and crew docked and dined at Fort Pierce City Marina in Fort Pierce, Florida, featuring a full-service, state-of-the-art dock system within walking distance from excellent restaurants and historic downtown Fort Pierce. Each month, turn to Florida Sportsman for the best in boating and fishing coverage.